Confidence and self-worth. That's what we're talking about today, boys. Because I know we all tend to struggle with that at least some point in our life. Normally, when we're younger, right? A lot of us seem a little lost. Maybe don't know our entire worth, or maybe know how good we are, or good we have it, or maybe how attractive we may come across to, potential partners and whatnot. And I think we've all been there. And I'm having a little flashback to back in the day, man. I remember it was like my first like real girlfriend, right? And this was like middle school, so does that really count? Kind of did. It probably could have more if I would have, been a little more confident with it. But dude, I remember back in the day, and which is odd to me thinking about it that I wasn't like necessarily confident. I think it was just like my growing up and whatnot. Like I don't know. Like I played sports and I did really well with sports, so you think that would boost my confidence, and I think it did. But I think with relationships, man, I didn't really get confident with relationships until probably, honestly, man, it was probably longer than I would even like to admit. Potentially, I don't know. Probably in my 20s, to be honest. I think I was a little insecure with some of my high school relationships. Definitely, my high school relationships, and I think slightly past that, but not too much. So maybe around like 18, 19, I actually kind of pulled it together, which might be normal. But man, I remember like my first like real girlfriend, right? And I remember when I found out that she liked me at school, right? People were telling me she liked me. But you know what's interesting? I like didn't believe it because prior to that, I remember telling some buddies that like she was definitely by far the most attractive, prettiest girl uh, throughout the whole campus, throughout every grade. She was in the same grade as me. I remember seeing her. I was like, "Yo, this is like a built woman, bro." And I was like, "Yo," and like my little middle school brain was just like on cloud nine when I saw her. And then I find out not too long afterwards that she liked me. And honestly, man, I don't know why this almost sounds like, oh man, it's almost cringy thinking about it. But I thought they were lying to me. I thought it was like some prank because they knew. But no, she liked me, man. And it's weird because I like totally was not involved that much with that like relationship at all. Like we didn't really do anything. It was like kind of awkward. It was kind of weird. And I remember there was this one time this guy who like everyone had a crush on her, to be fair, but this one guy who really had a big crush on her. I remember him standing outside of my history class when I was waiting to get in there. And I don't know, I guess he wanted to fight me because this girl liked me. And we were dating, I guess, at the time. And he's like, I remember his line, his catchphrase he dropped on me outside of history class was, "If you aren't afraid of me, why don't you challenge me?" I'm like, bro, what are we in? Like Oblivion? What's going on here? Am I in the Coliseum? What is this dialogue? And, and, I don't know. That was goofy. Nothing really happened with that. But dude, I just like was not involved with her. And you know what's crazy? Like seeing her nowadays, she did, and to prove that she was quite attractive, she made quite a bit of money dancing. So that's where her life kind of went. But she seems to be doing well, man. I actually just saw her today. I'm just scrolling through Snapchat, and dude, she's gotten so beautiful. It's actually insane. And it's like, man, I fumbled that. Imagine if I would have just. I mean, granted, we're so young that who knows, but every now and again we catch up with each other. So it almost feels like there's still something there. But granted, she has a kid now, so I don't know. I don't know if we'd ever necessarily go down there. But obviously, if that attraction was there, that attraction still tends to be there, right? Unless like you completely change the way you look or like your body or whatnot. And man, she's gotten. Oh man, she's like a 9 on 10, like a straight 9 on 10, maybe a 9.2. It's actually insane. And dude, just like it's odd, like finding confidence, right? Because as us men, right, I feel like we kind of get confidence once we get approval from like women, which is interesting, right? Like we definitely get it, or we can get it taken away from like dudes in our circle. Like definitely, if you've ever grew up with like bullying and whatnot, or being made fun of in school, and if you didn't have like a balanced home life or like a stable home life where they were like lifting you up at the end of the days and whatnot, or like giving you compliments, like a lot of us kind of struggle with that, and but we kind of gain our confidence with women. Like once we like are attractive to women and they kind of, get down and dirty with your boys and stuff, that does raise our confidence. So it kind of does once you kind of, lose your V card or get to the process of that, maybe some steps before then. At least with most of us, at least with a lot of guys I know, that seems to be when we kind of bloom into our confident state. And it's definitely a thing that you need to carry on because confidence really feeds into everything. And like across the board, right? Like everyone respects a guy who's confident, even if it's just like what you're saying comes off as like you believe it, even if it's garbage, right? And we see that across the board in every industry or every talking head, right? I guess it's just a skill, and I guess you could go back in time and be like, oh, that was you'd be like a tribe leader, I suppose. So that is kind of like, I guess that seeps into our everyday life now. But man, it is interesting, like navigating that, and it's weird looking back and just like knowing how insecure you may have been. I know I definitely had moments, and every now and again it may like creep up if you're not really feeling yourself certain days, or you're not feeling like too great about yourself, or feeling too confident, or like I don't know, maybe you haven't been hitting the gym, or you've been eating a little bad, so you have a little bit of shame. Shame is the killer of confidence, 100%. That is the root cause. I would like to think, and I think that's true. But man, it's weird navigating that, like getting into a confident state. And like I said, I do think it is once you kind of get involved with women. If you're a guy with girls, I don't know where they gain their confidence from. I'm not sure. But that'd be an interesting conversation to have. I should have a lady friend on here one of these days, and we talk about that. So I'd be curious because I know there's definitely a lot of insecure women, even up to around our age, in our 20s, and I know there's a lot of guys as well, especially in this day and age, man. Because like, what's interesting? Actually, this is a little side tangent. Confidence also comes from like followers, which is odd. But I guess because you get like approval, you get like a validation with followers. Oh man, that's it's gross, but it's true, man. Because it's like you kind of get the approval, the nod of the head of all these people that are following you. Like I remember when I had an Instagram page, and it capped around like it was almost 10K. It was like 9 point something, and this was like 2014 when I was, jamming in a band and stuff. So I was getting a lot of DMs and whatnot, and a lot of people around my area knew me, and that was definitely a confidence booster, man. I definitely felt like I didn't feel egotistical, but I did feel like kind of on top of the world in a way, and but in a way, I kind of always, besides like that girlfriend. Uh, well, I don't know, man. I guess it kind of came to me maybe around that time, man. Maybe around like 17 or something. I started like really coming into my own because I remember like some high school girlfriends just like, man, I had another one that I thought was too good for me. Dude, isn't that a curse? When a girl that you find so attractive likes you back, she's willing to date, she's willing to touch you, and you're just like, for some reason, you feel undeserving. Dude, what is that? I'm glad that died with me, or died in my past, because, bro, that would be rough. And maybe it still exists in some way. I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little blind to certain girls that like me, man. And you know, I've lived a pretty fortunate life in that aspect of partners and whatnot, and relationships and stuff. Girls tend to dig your boy over here. Some definitely don't, but some definitely do. And I don't know. I guess there might be sometimes where I'm a little blind to like if I find a girl to be like very attractive. Sometimes like I still sometimes get like nah, she wouldn't like this, even though there's clear telltale signs that she digs me. Oh man, that's weird. Those must be days that I'm feeling a little shameful or something. Like maybe I was like drinking or something, or maybe I was like a little depressed, which definitely seeps into confidence, right? Like when you're like, don't perceive me, don't pay attention to me. I'm just trying to get through my day, which is a bad state to be in. But every now and again, I'll get like that. I have a few periods of that like throughout the year, I suppose. Maybe like I don't know, maybe like 2 to 4 times, and sometimes they can be like a little long. Sometimes they can just be like a day or two. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, like, oh, dude, yeah, what is up with that? Like, when a girl and I guess it must be like mainly when we're younger, because I don't know. Nowadays, like, I have been with like a decent amount of girls, maybe, arguably too much. Definitely have a little bit of shame over some of those. Not that anything was wrong with them. It was just like sometimes you seek out a quest. You're like, ooh, I want to be with this girl, and then you get with them, and then you're like, ugh, I feel bad. I actually don't want to be here, and that's rough. That's a rough thing to go through. But and yeah, I don't know, man. I guess it is confidence boosting. I think it's a partnership somehow give you more confidence. But you know what also gives you confidence, man? Income, like having a decent amount of money that like everything's kind of taken care of. Uh, Feeling good about yourself, which normally comes from working out. I've noticed. Like it's really like if you work out and you feel good, like if you're in pain from working out, I feel like everything else just falls to the wayside, and you're just like existing like pretty good, like pretty heavy, like just chilling. Definitely. And also like obviously like compliments and whatnot, if you can hear that, especially from your buddies. That's why I feel like you gotta compliment your buddies, you gotta gas up your buddies, because sometimes that little insecurity sometimes seeps into our brains, even though we've lived through enough to be confident. But man, it's a weird thing to channel down, and especially if you just never had it before. Eventually you can get there, and eventually the main thing is to find it in yourself, right? But I have noticed, probably with me, it was once, oh man, once I like actually realized that like chicks were into me that I found attractive, that also found me attractive, even though it took me a little bit. And that is such a shame, bro, because I've missed a couple real good ones for sure by being a complete goober, bro. And sometimes maybe I even shot below the belt, like below my weight class in a sense too. I'm not sure, man. It's hard to perceive yourself, don't you think? It's hard to know like how attractive you actually are. And I guess that's where confidence comes in. If you have just like the pure confidence, it's like, oh, everyone's on the table for me, you know what I mean? You got to just feel that, I suppose. Even if the results vary, they'll always vary no matter what. Like sometimes it's just the vibes off, or it's just not alignment. But man, it just crossed my mind because I saw her and I was like, bro, she, like the first girl, I'm like, bro, she has gotten so like attractive over time. And it's like, dang, bro, there was probably, up until she had a kid, I probably had an in up until then. Maybe I still do now. I don't know. I don't think I would try. I don't know if I would be with a mom right now. Maybe, I don't know if she's the right one, right? If she's the right one, then it is what it is. But man, I just want to talk about confidence and finding confidence. How did you guys find confidence? Like I said, I think mine was with, you know, being with women physically and stuff, and eventually it just kind of seeped in. And also, man, yeah, followings, income, uh, anything, I guess, that just kind of elevates you, man. I guess that's what kind of makes us feel better. But the main thing, I feel like the best thing was just find confidence in yourself and knowing that you don't want to cause any harm to anyone around you. You have good intentions, and you know you treat everyone equally. I feel like that comes with confidence too, and that would definitely be the most important one. But just being transparent with how I ended up finding mine. And sometimes, sometimes I have off days, but something something about being breedable, I guess. Which kind of, it makes sense to me. But yeah, man, just want to talk about that. How do you find confidence? But thanks for listening, boys. Make sure to do something for yourself today. Make sure to do something for someone else today. Regardless, boy, we got this. If you aren't confident today, you got this, bro. Work towards it. You're worth it, bro. Take care.